So the biggest thing we learn at MECA is community, right? And how to be here for one another. And community means different things to different people. But here for us, it's always been that super whole person, the most holistic person you can be so that you can continue to support community. We're one grain in the beat, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
that's what we
Hmm.
learn here. And so we come and use the arts first as the tool to engage the child. By engaging the child, we then further engage the entire family unit.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Spotlight Houston, where we bring you the best of the people, places, and events in Houston. This week we chat with Armando Silva, the new Executive Director of the Multicultural Education and Counseling through the Arts, also known as MECA. He will share details on two holiday events they have coming up this week. Their Fiesta Guadalupana on Tuesday, December 12th at 6:30 p.m., and La Posada in Old Sixth Ward on Saturday, December 16th at 6:30 p.m. And now your host, Blanca Quezada.
Hi, hope y'all have been having a great start to the holiday season. The holiday lights that are beautiful. And of course, my favorite is shopping. Of course, going to some of the beautiful and fun events happening around town. Like today, we're going to talk about two of them that are really special that are going to be coming up this week. And they're being presented by the Multicultural Education and Counseling through the Arts nonprofit organization, better known as MECA. And to tell us all about them is the new executive director of MECA, Armando Silva. Armando, first of all, congratulations on your well deserved appointment.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited. I've been really busy in just a little bit before the actual appointment and getting everything running and going. We've had an exciting 2023. And so the events I will share with you today is the culmination of our season. And yeah, always so much happening and really exciting things. So I'm excited to be with you. Thank you for the invitation. I'm glad that I could be
Yeah.
with you again and ready to share.
Yeah, and I'm excited to have you on the show again. So welcome. Welcome. I know that you're going to have some amazing shoes to fill because the former director, Alice Valdez, had been the head of the organization. And I believe she was the founder as well of the organization for the past 46 years. And she has done an incredible job of making sure that she found all the programming necessary for children and adults and even seniors. And so this was an incredible dream of hers that has just snowballed over the years. And now you're taking that snowball now. And I'm sure that you have a lot of great ideas and things that you want to do with it.
Yes, Alice is the founder, 46 years now. And I've been with Alice since 1991. I first started as a student, an aspiring dance student. And I came to Mecca through a friend and I've never really ever left. And so everything that I've been doing in my artistic career has always reflected back on my training here at Mecca. And that's what I bring to the table now, always with Alice in my corner. She and I speak regularly, at least twice a week. We're talking about what's happening, what's going on, what needs to be happening. How should I be looking at what came before me? And she's very encouraging as to my ideas for what I want to do with the organization. And really, it doesn't stray much from where she started. You're absolutely right. She's done an incredible job that snowballed into this incredible organization for our Houston community, really. And that's my goal, just to amplify what she's done,
Yes.
perhaps find other arenas that we weren't able to get into because the timing was different, different person, different connections. I'm definitely relying on all of hers, but also bringing to the table all the ones that I've made because of my work that Mecca allowed me to do. I went on to be a professional dancer for many years and I got to meet many people throughout the world. And so I'm pulling in those ties now. Again, that's all because Mecca opened those doors for me to do that. But now I'm relying on those ties to further amplify Alice's vision and can really get this mission completed. Besides the two things that we're going to talk about, we're also working on the building. And I want to definitely share with you more about that when we get some time.
Yes, definitely. I want to hear more about it because it's a 1912 building, and I want to hear about the renovation that's coming up for it as well.
Excellent.
But I know that Alice is going to be on your shoulder all the time because I know that it's going to be difficult for her to let it go completely. But she's going to be a great person to have right behind you, right?
Definitely. I think that's one of the only things that gives me comfort in understanding what work I'm taking on, because it really is a huge undertaking. And we made it, the first public announcement came at our Dia de Muertos celebration in October. And she made everyone laugh when she gave me her keys. We did a physical handing of the keys that she gave me. And she says, I can't believe he's the only one crazy enough to take the job. But so that was really fun. But yes, she's definitely in my corner and many ideas to share with me still, passing on her contacts that are going to be crucial for a successful transition. Again, yes, I've been here for many years, but without the founder's consent and without her blessing, it's almost impossible for our organization to truly be successful in such a huge transition, right? It means more than just opening the building in the mornings. It means more than just making sure that the day to day is working. There are a lot of relationships that have been built
Oh, yeah.
across the years, and only with her help will I be successful. So I look to her as often as possible.
Did she
And the
keep a
days that
copy
I,
of the keys?
man,
Did she keep a copy of the key?
probably somewhere, Blanca. Probably somewhere. It took a while to get those set of keys, by the way. I'm still
I'm
because
sure.
I'm coming to work. And Alice, you've known her for many years, and
Yes.
she's like looking for ways to get back into the building. Like, no, but I have to go and do this. I'm like,
Right.
Alice, it's okay. We have a great team that you've built for us. You've certainly trained me right, and we got this. And now, because of great technology, such as we're on this Zoom call now, we
Right.
can work with you from where you are right at home. So she's been able to let go a little bit.
She's starting to relax.
A little bit. Mhm. We got her to say, I officially retire in December. That's a big step.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Mm,
You really belong there. I mean, you've been there since 1991 as a kid really that went in to take advantage of some of the programs that the organization was offering.
Definitely. When I first came, it was just to really study under some of the best teachers that Houston has. She was able to secure some incredible dance teachers. One of my first teachers, I'll never forget his name, Bill Henry. He taught me all of my partnering skills as a dancer, as a male dancer, having to be responsible for other bodies, throwing them in the air, catching them without dropping them, and making sure that they felt secure. That taught me a lot. And really, Mecca had one of the best, if not the best, partnering teacher in the city. And the skills that I learned in those dance classes, I carry throughout the rest of my work, right? I think of every partnership that I go into as a partnering situation, right? I have to make sure that I am there to support the next group that's coming in, support the next team member that's coming in. And that's how I look at it. And that's all of the training that she's given me. But yes, since 1991, it's been that long. It's been a beautiful ride. Um, I don't regret any of it. Um, Even the not so fun parts have been learning experiences. And that's what this kind of organization requires, right? My goodness, when Alice started it, she didn't set out to make a Mecca. She didn't set out to do, she set out to meet community needs, and whatever it took, that's what we need to do. And
Mhm.
that's the biggest thing she's instilled in me is like Noel, because she calls me Noel. And that's another story for another day. But you do it. You have to make it happen. You
Right.
figure it out. You do it.
So the students that go there and the people that go there, it's not just about learning a craft like you dancing. It's more about you learning to become this overall disciplined person, learning how to take care of yourself, learning
Period.
how to take care of others, what it is that you need to do to achieve what you want to achieve in life.
So the biggest thing we learn at Mecca is community, right? And how to be here for one another. And community means different things to different people. But here for us, it's always been that super whole person, the most holistic person you can be, so that you can continue to support community. And we're one grain in the beat, right? And so
Mhm.
that's what we learn here. And so we come and use the arts first as the tool to engage the child. By engaging the child, we then further engage the entire family unit, hopefully. There are several instances that you'll find when 2 and 3 siblings, when there are that many in the cluster, are part of the program. We see parents that then also get involved and grandparents. We have situations to this day that grandma can be upstairs in the folklorico class while the student, the youth, is in the art room. It really can be that intense for us. And when it comes to events that we put on, for instance, our annual Dia de Muertos celebration, the entire cluster is working. We have two groups, two families that each run a specific food booth, and you see all of those people in that booth. For instance, the Huarache booth, which is very popular for us, there are children whose mothers and grandmothers, fathers, grandfathers, uncles, and aunties are all running that one booth. And that is the complexity and intensity of the work that MECA does
Oh, that
in
sounds
all aspects.
beautiful.
Yeah.
That sounds beautiful. Having families like that working together
Yeah.
to accomplish something for the community.
And that's really how MECA was formed. We all give Alice always the praise first and foremost, because she's the one that spent the majority of her life running this organization and working. But it really was built on families coming together to build MECA.
Mhm.
She had the Salinases, she had the Ribases, the Sosa
Right.
Baileys. There's so many different families that came together and really helped her to build and establish MECA and get it to where it is now. And that's what we continue to do. We strive to do that. We actually look to do that as often as possible.
Yeah. Meca is known a lot for some of the Mexican traditional mariachis and folkloric dancing and things like
Mhm.
that. But you're actually a multicultural facility that reaches out to the diverse community in Houston.
Right. And again, so when Mecca was founded, it was at the St. Joseph Catholic Church in the old Sixth Ward. And the communities that were here was a mixture of different ethnic groups, right? It wasn't just Latinos. There were your Mexicans, then there were your Mexican Americans. As we know, those are very different groups of people. There were African Americans just across the railroad track. There was at one point, there was a huge Vietnamese community, Polish community. And these are all the people that attended the St. Joseph Catholic Church, and that's who we sought, or who Alice and the then MECA team was looking to work with and to really foster community with, right? And so
Mhm.
that's what we've grown out of, and that's what we continue to do. That's why our name is Multicultural Education and Counseling through the Arts. There will not be an event or a performance that I open up and speak to the people and say, we're MECA, and not refer to our full name. See, we
Right.
are Multicultural Education and Counseling through the Arts.
Yeah.
A lot of words, so we say MECA, but we really always focus on that multicultural aspect.
Yeah. Just recently, you had an event, a Filipino event, actually.
Yes. And so that I'll tie that back into where Alice has put me into and MECA has thrust me into in my dance career. My first trip to New York City as a dancer was amazing. MECA made that happen. They put me on the plane. They took care of my room and board at the AV school. I earned my scholarship, but they took care of everything else. At that school, I met a young woman named Annie Gavino, and we stayed friends ever since. We later danced together at Dallas Black Dance Theater. We moved together from there. She is now in Philadelphia. When I had the opportunity to invite Annie to share with our community, understanding also that there is a huge Filipino population, realizing the similarities that we share in cultures, right? Both being colonized by the same folks and having the
Yes.
same struggles, it just made perfect sense. Annie visited in September. Just before that, she was here in April. And every visit we've had her in community, we take her out to the different schools. Marshall Middle School, which down the street has been a great partner in hosting Annie, and different groups that are here in the city, reaching out to the Filipino community and really solidifying ties and finding bonds has been incredible. So she's just one of the many different other non-Latino groups that I guess you
Mhm.
could say that we focus on sometimes.
Yeah. Here's the end of almost the end of December, almost Christmas. But by saying that you're multicultural and all, these last two performances that you have are mostly celebrated in the Mexican American communities, even Central and South American communities. So can you tell us a little bit about these two major events that you're going to wrap up the year with?
Sure. So
The
the
first
first one
one
for
is,
us, the
yeah.
first one that we'll do is December the 12th, and that's Fiesta Guadalupana. Realizing that a majority of the people here in this neighborhood were Mexican and Mexican American. And we came from from a Catholic church. That's where we started. And we always honor and celebrate La Virgen de Guadalupe, the patron saint of Mexico, right? To understand that some people refer to as La Madrecita de Mexico, La Virgen Morena. So that has been one of the cultural staples for MECA's concert series, and we start that with a serenade. There are many songs that have been put together specifically to honor what she represents for Mexicans and Mexican Americans. We have a beautiful aluminum can statue that was gifted to Mecca in 1991, I believe, or three, by, my goodness, his name escapes me now. But anyway, so the Virgin is there. We gather at the foot of the Virgin. She's a huge statue. We do dances, we do the prayers that are aligned with that. We tried to stick to Mecca Mariachi alumni because that was a huge program for us. And then Ballet Folklorico comes out and they do Las Danzas de los Matachines and a couple of other very traditional Mexican folk dances. What we've added in the last couple of years is the night market. We understand that people really are wanting to learn more about this specific tradition and the specific image and what she represents. We have about 10 vendors that'll come out that sell their goods. These are all parts of our community too. A lot of the work that we do now is supporting vendors and artisans and artists that are making their money in the arts as well, right? So by allowing them the opportunity to present with us, then they have that exposure to our audiences. And thankfully,
Mhm.
with 46 years of history, we have large audiences and people are exposed to that too. So that one is on December the 12th at 6 o'clock. We'll start meeting here at the steps. It's a free event. We will offer pan dulce because who can have a December event without pan dulce?
Exactly.
Um,
That's really good Mexican bread.
exactly. And hot chocolate, ¿verdad?
Yeah.
We've got a great partnership now with El Bolillo Bakery. And so
Oh,
they will be
that's
sponsoring the pan
perfect.
dulce. No, they've
Yeah.
been amazing. So definitely shout out to El Bolillo Bakery because they'll be again celebrating with us. And AARP. AARP is another a great partner for this specific
Mhm.
celebration. They will be here talking to our elderly community. You mentioned at the beginning how Alice has built community for all ages, right? And
Right.
so one thing that I'm going to take on for sure is focusing on our senior citizens. And so the partnership with AARP made sense, especially understanding that the Virgen de Guadalupe traditions go back so far and that these are things that we celebrate in family generationally, right? So where do we learn the stories of La Virgen de Guadalupe? From grandmother, from grandfather, and they get passed down that way. Definitely, that it's going to be a beautiful evening on December the 12th.
Yeah.
For me,
And of course, people don't have to be Catholic
no,
and they can just go and learn about this tradition in the Mexican community,
right.
which
Exactly.
is a beautiful tradition,
Exactly.
a beautiful story about an indigenous man that apparently had the apparition. He went to one of these Spanish monks. The monks didn't believe him. And finally, there was a rose bush, and there shouldn't have been roses on the bush. But he picked the roses, put them in his little mantle, I think. And then he went and showed the monk that it was true.
And
And so
that's
the
where they built the
image,
church, La Basilica.
yeah, the image appeared, was there on his little mantle. That's how the tradition began.
Mhm.
But and when you mention matachines, a lot of people don't know what matachines are. So can you describe? It's a little bit hard to describe, but
Yes, definitely. But so the Matachin dance is one that's celebrated during the December times, right? But it's one of the indigenous dances. It's danced with shells on the ankles. There's plumage on headdresses. There's costuming that's very specific, original to indigenous areas of Mexico. And those are traditionally used to celebrate La Virgen de Guadalupe. And so that's why we celebrate during this time, right? Um,
yeah.
the next steps that are going to work into this celebration is to do a little more scholarly research and understand where the image really first comes from, right? And there are stories of that becomes the the Virgen de Guadalupe image that's used for colonization purposes. And so
Yeah.
that's a whole other story that we're going to dive into
Right.
without offending anyone. We
Yes.
want to be super, super respectful of those of us who truly believe in La Virgen de Guadalupe as she is, but also really understanding culture and how
Yeah.
it could have possibly been used as a tool to overcome this group of people and
Exactly.
get them to do as this other group of people desired, right? So that's
Right.
a touchy subject. So
Yeah.
we're going to spend at least another year researching on the
Yeah.
best way to do that and share those
Yeah.
stories too.
Yeah. I know there's been a lot of researchers and scientists that are trying to figure things out because apparently there's a lot of symbols and things like that going on. And so they're not sure exactly what happened, but
Right.
that's the story we got, right?
Exactly. And again, we learned them as they were passed down by our ancestors.
Right.
And so
Exactly.
that's what we'll stick to now and really build on that. Again,
Yeah.
as I mentioned earlier, for Mecca, the biggest thing is community and
Yeah.
building that. And
Yeah.
so we're
So
working on
again,
this.
you don't have to be Catholic. You can just go and enjoy the
Anyone as a nonprofit organization, we're very careful too. We can't really follow any strict religion. Just as we do in politics, we
Yeah.
don't meddle with any of that.
Right.
We stick to the cultural part, the artistic part. And so anyone of any faith can come and you'll find similarities in other faiths about how images like that are revered and how we celebrate certain things with music and dance and
Right.
food. Cuisine is so important.
Yes,
That's why we're putting in
definitely.
the pan dulce and the chocolate, because those are all things that really make our culture beautifully amazing and complex. And so that's what we'll share with people.
And this is happening on Tuesday, December 12th, beginning at 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock. Exactly.
And then, so the next one
Right.
is happening on Friday,
The Posada.
the Posada.
Posada. We'll do that on December 16th. I want to say that's a Saturday though, to be safe. Yes, it's Saturday, December
Oh, okay. For some reason, I thought it was Friday, but yeah, Saturday, December
Saturday.
16th.
Yeah. And so
So,
the 16th,
yes.
what we commemorate is again, this goes back to a very religious tradition, right? And we're celebrating or commemorating the journey that Mary and Joseph took to Bethlehem, where Jesus was then birthed, following the
Right.
star and finding the manger. And so that's what we reproduce and different from other posadas. What's happened a lot lately in recent years is the posada just becomes a big Christmas party and celebration, right? But
Mm-hmm.
we actually do a little journey through the neighborhood. That's why we call it
Oh,
Posada in
cool.
the old Sixth Ward.
Yeah.
We have musicians. Maestro Jesus Lozano, who is part of our staff, will be leading our musicians. And we visit at least two homes in the neighborhood, asking for allowance to stay at their home where Mary would then give birth. And
Mm-hmm.
as is in the story, you go to the first two and they turn you away. You come to the
Mm-hmm.
third and you're allowed at this inn, and then the baby Jesus is born, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have great neighbors here that allow us to knock on their door and they turn us away
Mm-hmm.
as they did in the story. And we finally end up at Mecca, and Mecca, the Dow School building represents the inn, the third stop. And we have singers here that say, Os damos posada. You're welcome to come
Mm-hmm.
in. And then we celebrate again with pan dulce and chocolate and tamales this time too. So
Oh,
um,
yum.
yes. But so that's what the commemoration is. It's of that journey to Bethlehem. And for Mexicans, Mexican Americans, that's a very deep, touching story. Again, we try to steer from religion. We don't tell anyone, no, you can't come unless you're Catholic. We don't do
Right.
any of that.
And
But
it's a story that's not just a Catholic story, though.
correct, correct.
A lot of
Christian
people.
story.
Yeah.
Exact- Yeah.
Yeah. But even if you're not Christian, you're welcome because it's
Anyone is
something
welcome.
different, something
Always.
unique and
Definitely.
beautiful.
And we
And,
really
and
do spend time with our guests sharing the music that we sing. They are given a program that has every song. We try to explain to them what the song is, where it comes from. And then we have some fun songs that are just like El Burrito Sabanero.
oh,
That's
yes.
just fun. That's always a
Yeah.
good one and fun one to do. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's December 16th. Again, we start gathering on that Saturday at 6 p.m. at the Dow School.
Yeah.
We're looking just to be very safe. There's possible rain on the 12th. So we're looking at other
Mhm.
ideas. Thankfully, our building is huge. We can move everything indoors. If need be, we have the second facility at the TBH location, which is in the East End, but we've already made arrangements to notify people as early as the 10th to say, okay, if it rains on the 12th, we're going to meet at this location. We'll do the exact same celebration over here. We'll figure
Mhm,
out how to do it. We will
mhm,
have everybody informed in plenty of time to get to the right location and
mhm.
celebrate these wonderful fiestas decembrinas with us.
Are you going to have piñatas?
We will have one for the Posada for sure.
Yeah, you got to have that piñata.
You have to, right?
Yeah, and the oranges and the candies
The
and
peanuts.
yeah, the peanuts for sure. Yeah, yeah. It sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. And what time does that start?
We start gathering at 6.
At 6 as well.
And then we play it by ear as to when we depart the building for the actual journey.
Mhm,
And it also depends on how far we have to go.
mhm.
Sometimes we get lucky to get a neighbor on the corner and we just turn right back around. Sometimes we have
Yeah,
to travel 2 blocks, so it takes a little further. But yeah,
yeah.
but 6 o'clock, we start gathering at the foot of the Dow School.
And where is the Dow School located?
So the Dow School is located at the historic Sixth Ward, Old Sixth Ward, which is our big boundaries are Washington Avenue on the north side, Memorial on the south, Houston Avenue on the east, and Taylor Sawyer on the west. Our address is 1900 Kane Street. That's Kane. And our zip code is 77007. If you've ever had to pay a parking ticket at the courthouse on Lubbock Street, that is our neighborhood. So if you ever had to come pay a parking ticket, that we're in that neighborhood, you won't be too far from there.
Yeah, and it seems like it's close to Memorial Drive also.
We're blocks. We're walking distance. We are 3 blocks from Memorial, 3 blocks from Washington Avenue.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do people need to have tickets to buy tickets to go or no?
Each event is absolutely free. These are two of our staples that we will always keep free, much like our Dia de Muertos celebration. We feel that these are so important to speak to culturally, to educate on this way, that we will not charge a cover for that. But again, we are a nonprofit. So if someone comes and you would like to donate to our programming, by all means, we will have plenty of information that you can do that. We really rely heavily on individual giving to continue our programming. But these two are definitely free.
What is your website
Our
address?
website is www.meca-houston.org. Again, www.meca-houston.org. And our phone number, we still use that one, still a landline, is 713-802-9370.
And at this point, do you still need volunteers?
We always can use volunteers, not just for these events, but for every day, right? We have a large facility to maintain. We've been fortunate to be here in this building that we now own, and you'll see this beautiful, you mentioned it earlier, it was erected in 1912. And so we are currently in remodeling phases of a lot of the space. But so volunteers can be used to help us keep up the premises, to help us answer phones, to tutor, to run events. If you were to volunteer specifically for these events, if you wanted to help with these events, you could probably help us with the I was going to say pan de muerto. I just got through our Day of the Dead celebration, but our pan dulce and serving hot chocolate.
And probably setting up the booths and things like that you also need. Yeah,
Definitely. Mhm.
yeah. But if some of our listeners haven't been to the Dow building, it is a beautiful building, like you said, built in 1912. And it is in the National Register of Historic Buildings, right?
Yes, man. And one of the reasons that we opted to come to this space, when Alice had to find another home for Mecca, this place was ideal. It's an elementary school building, and it's one of the first recorded schools to integrate Latinos into the population. It's one of those things that just made sense, right? We should go here, right? We were in the neighborhood already. We wanted to stay in the neighborhood, even though our community was being pushed out due to gentrification. The school came open. The neighborhood association bought it from HISD with their tax increment reinvestment zone monies and gifted the school to Mecca. We probably, if not, were one of the first Latino organizations to own our own building. And while it has been a bit of a money pit, if you remember the movie, because it was in
Yes.
dilapidated condition, but
Yes.
we've done a beautiful job thanks to Alice's always unwavering commitment. The entire exterior of the building has been refurbished. Every single brick has been scrubbed and cleaned. 198 windows have been replaced.
Wow.
A brand new roof was completed in 2021, and we are currently working on, and this is really exciting. And I get a little bit of anxiety, but excitement too. We are turning the auditorium, which was a cafetorium, into a 206 seat state of the art theater. We have
Oh,
all of the
wow.
sound and lighting equipment purchased. It's
Wow.
in storage, waiting for the building to happen. We're currently doing some minor demolition in areas that weren't original to the building, just to prepare the space so that we can bring to the Latino community a brand new theater to
Wow.
showcase our artwork and support our brown artists.
I'm sure it's going to be amazing. I can't wait to see it. When is it going to be finished? Do you know?
We don't have a true date for finishing, but we're expecting it that in early to mid 2025. So,
Wow.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah. You got a ways to go, but it's going to be beautiful. I know for sure.
And most of the holdup has just been natural disasters. We're in a beautiful city that loves to have hurricanes.
Yes.
And then there's the occasional freeze. So that's
Yes.
what a damper in our plans and
Yes.
timing. And then there was a whole COVID thing that happened, but we're on track. We still need some funding. So I will be definitely reaching out to you all and to your listeners and audiences to help us meet that goal. But we're definitely on track, and we will launch an official capital campaign soon. And hopefully that everybody will be willing to support the work that Alice started, and that I will continue with a beautiful team that I have and get this thing done and ready to go.
And if anybody wants more information on how to donate to MECA, they can just visit your website and
Visit the
you have
website,
the information there.
call the number. We have a great social media presence on Facebook as well as on Twitter and on Instagrams. Those are definitely ways that you can find us. But always feel free to stop by. We have art on display at both locations, here at the Dow School at the 1900 King Street, and also at our TBH facility that we now manage at 333 South Jensen. That's at the corner of Jensen and Navigation. So you could always stop by. We're open from 10 to 8 at the Dow School and from 1 to 10 at the TBH location.
Well, Armando Silva, I'm so excited that you were able to join us today here on Spotlight Houston. And again, congratulations to you on your new position at MECA. And I hope you come back soon to the show and tell us about what's going on.
Thank you
Um,
so much. Thank you
yeah,
so much.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
excited, and I'm glad that you guys are always in our corner. Again, this is only my second visit, but I hope to visit more often, and whatever we can do to support your work too, by all means, you can count on us.
You have a lot of great, unique things happening for the entire Houston community. So we hope that they come and join you, especially for these two last events of the year,
Thank you, Lanka.
September
Thank you so
12th and the
much.
16th. And of course, I would like to thank you all as well for joining me for this edition of Spotlight Houston. Hope you join me again soon. And if you have any show ideas or any comments, please get in touch.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Spotlight Houston, a production of Story Zone Media.